parents serve whole sect by playing badly. Chapter 122. From time to time, there were noisy sounds from the back mountain, and the scene was quite lively. When these children get together, there is no rest. The other senior brothers of Chang Mingzong were all behind, and it was rare for Zhu Yu to run seriously. By stepping on other people's shoulders, Yi Qiao successfully caught up with the three senior brothers who were in the front, and they ran together. The one from Yue Kingzong. Zhu Yu looked at the personal biography who was thrown away behind him, and his voice was a little hurried. She was released. Yi Qiao didn't notice anyone at first, but when she saw it, she said slowly, "I will enter the secret realm in about 2 days, and I will be released after serving my sentence." She knew Yun Hen well, and knew that the other party was just putting on airs at most, but that was Yun Hen's top-quality spiritual root who was looking forward to the stars and the moon, so how could she be willing to punish her? The back mountain is not very big, and it has been occupied by a group of relatives, and you will always meet them when you are running. When Yi Qiao and Yun Qiu bumped into each other head-on, she thought Yun Qiu had learned a lesson and would not take the initiative to speak. Unexpectedly, the other party actually spoke. Yun Qiu pursed his lips, and when the two were about to pass by, he said softly, "Second senior sister, you have been in the cultivation world for so long, and you have heard a saying called heavenly reward. Are you diligent?" The disgusting title of second senior sister made Yi Qiao tilt her head, and when Yun Qiu was about to run away, she clenched her fist into a fist and threw it at her face without warning. Yun Qiu didn't expect her to strike at the slightest disagreement, and hurriedly retreated. Her earlobe was still rubbed, and it hurt hotly. "What exactly do you want to say?" Zhu Yu stopped, and his voice became cold. Yun Qiu took a deep breath and quickly finished what he said just now, "But in fact, the way of heaven will not reward hard work, and the way of heaven will only favor those geniuses." Yun Qiu is still unwilling to admit that Yi Qiao, who was inferior to her in every way at the beginning, has become what she is now. "So you have learned a lot, but it doesn't mean you are talented." "Oh." Yi Qiao heard her sarcasm, resisted the urge to punch her again, and said in a flat tone, "I didn't expect me to be hardworking in your eyes." "Flattered. Give way. Don't get in the way." Chu Xingji couldn't understand Yun Qiu, so he sprinted and forced Yun Qiu away. It's not easy for a sword cultivator to squeeze out a talisman cultivator. Yun Qiu staggered and was almost knocked into the air by Chu Xingji, thanks to Su Juo's sharp eyes and quick hand. The girl's face changed several times, but she didn't say anything in the end. People who asked Janzong, she obviously couldn't offend her, otherwise, what would senior brother Kingen think of her? Su Juo pursed his lips, and comforted him, "Don't argue with them. Their sword cultivators have always been so rude." "Who are you saying is rude?" Mu Chongxi looked back at him, snorted and quit. The young man put his hand on the Chaoshi sword at his waist. "Why don't we fight? Let me see how your Yue Kingzong fights politely." Su Juo's face changed instantly. In the past, he was sure that Chang Mingzong would not dare to do anything, and points would be deducted if he did. But now, the number ranking in the Chang Mingzong team competition is stable, and deducting points is nothing at all. If Mu Chongxi is irritated, being beaten is not something that will make him look good. Seeing that Su Juo resignedly stopped talking, Yun Qiu was a little aggrieved. As expected, these talisman repairs were unreliable. Whenever Song Hansheng came out to speak for herself, she didn't believe that Mu Chongxi dared to be so arrogant. Yun Qiu's watery eyes drooped, and his fingertips were quietly clenched, frantically comforting himself. When the 5th game starts, she will definitely make them look good. "I see this junior sister Yue Kingzong is very resentful towards us." Zhu Yu lowered his eyes thoughtfully. He was born in a big family since he was a child, so he is quite accurate in judging people. In the beginning, perhaps that Yun Qiu simply felt unconvinced, unwilling to be overwhelmed by Yi Qiao. But in the end, it seems that the character is somewhat distorted. Yi Qiao felt that the plot was so crooked that some parents didn't know each other anymore. First of all, after Yi Qing'an was robbed of the first place, he only wanted to be righteous, and he didn't care about loving his children. Secondly, her senior brothers are also somewhat abnormal, which caused Yunqiu to lose a lot of fish in the pond. Has she eaten Wangzai beef candy recently? Yi Qiao clicked her tongue lightly. It feels a little bit wrong. In the past, Yunqiu was not arrogant enough to provoke him. During the chat, several other seniors also slowly caught up. After all, running is commonplace for them. With a little luck in the breeze, they can easily distance themselves. A few people get together and start beeping what happened just now. Be careful with her during the individual competition. Zhu Yu instructed. Did you find that yunk? It's a bit ridiculously lucky. Mu Chongxi. I know, but don't the other sects also hate us? Zhu Yu lowered his expression. It's not the same. The fights between the 5 sects didn't happen much, but that Yunqiu felt like a variable to him. Zhu Yu was just about to say something, but saw that Mu Chongxi was already so cheap and turned to play with Chu Xingji, who was still running. Zhu Yu was speechless. Did this bastard listen to me? It's unimaginable. Yi Qiao raised her hand to cover her eyes, and sighed. Mu Chongxi, who is so stupid and sweet, was born in the palace. If Mu Chongxi hadn't blew himself up, she wouldn't have thought that he still had this level of identity if he was killed. Hey, maybe when he was in the palace, he also had a kind of joy without thinking. Mingxuan smiled slowly after him. It can be seen that when Mu Chongxi was in the palace when he was a child, he really never saw any sinister people. When is the golden core? Zhou Xingyun dragged his feet and walked slowly behind, feeling melancholy. I'm running out of time, junior sister. If you want to break through, try to do it before the secret realm begins. Mingxuan added. Judging from Yi Qing'an's 3 days and 3 nights of thunder tribulation, Yi Qiao must not be much better than him. Breaking through in the secret realm is simply a disaster. Yi Qiao spread her hands. She understands the truth, but she can't control when to break the situation. When the 5 of them arrived at the destination, the other relatives were still in a hurry, so they also admired the embarrassment of the other people along the way. Mu Chongxi took out the photo stone. Come on, click on it to see the other 4. The running is passed on by the clan, and it will be auctioned off at that time. The starting price is 100 spirit stones. Are you human? Chu Xingji stretched out his hand to snatch it. Mu Chongxi threw it to Yi Qiao. Yi Qiao took it and ran away, and the others hurriedly followed when they saw it, and when they left, they said cheaply, let's go, let's go. Hey, you guys run slowly. A group of personal passers-by hold hands, and you will not be alone on the run. Oh shit. Back in the yard, after running all night, they were so refreshed that they couldn't sleep, so they gathered together and discussed about the situation of the 5th game of the secret realm and the individual competition. Zhu Yu sat on the stool, took a blueprint along the way, sketched it out, and clearly marked the divisions of each individual competition and the rules. Individual competitions are divided into 4 types. Equipment cultivation, alchemy cultivation, talisman cultivation, and sword cultivation. Which one are you going to participate in? Yi Qiao has 3 cultivators, but it doesn't mean that all of them can participate. There is no such precedent in the cultivation world. If possible, Zhu Yu would really like her to participate in the Danshu competition with him. It would be so boring for him to compete with the group of Bishuazong by himself. Yi Qiao never forgot her profession. I am a swordsman. Just kidding, who hasn't dreamed of walking around the world with a sword? Mu Chongxi applauded. Good job. Since this is the case, the top 10 of our sect depends on you. If you go, I will not go in that sword cave, so as not to attract those spirit swords to fight. Both Zhou Exingyun and Mu Chongxi have their own natal swords, and it doesn't matter whether they enter the sword cave or not. It must be known that Lingjian's favorite is a sword cultivator with a natural sword bone. If Mu Chongxi enters the sword cave with Yi Qing'an, other sword cultivators will only be disgusted. Yi Qiao waved her hands and lay flat on her back. Whether you can enter the sword cave or not is another matter. You have to break through the golden core before you are eligible to talk about whether you can enter the top 10, but you must know that Mingxuan has always had high attainments in talisman, so it has been stuck for a long time. There is still a secret realm. Mingxuan comforted her, don't worry. Yi Qiao was just short of an opportunity to break through. Speaking of which, this fifth secret realm is actually a bit strange. Zhu Yu lowered his head and was doing a strategy. He raised his eyes and saw that several people immediately squeezed their heads over curiously, feeling a little helpless. Do you want to hear it? Listen. Several people nodded eagerly. Okay. Zhu Yu spread out the blueprints. The fifth scene is called Ghost Secret Realm, a very strange secret realm with many opportunities in it, but in the same way, the reason why it has this name is because it is very strange. Other big secret realms have to be opened once in hundreds or decades, but this secret realm appears very frequently. Because this great secret realm has appeared too many times in total, and it often appears as a ghost, that's why the monks took this name. Originally, they didn't enter the secret realm so early. Maybe they can take Yi Qiao out to experience it, and try to see if they can reach the golden core stage. As a result, this secret realm appeared. Helpless can only be forced to start the fifth game ahead of schedule. I couldn't sleep again tonight, so I was working on the strategy for the next game. The risk factor is very high. There are many monks buried in this secret realm. Do you have anything to say? He asked. Yi Qiao was silent for a few seconds. It's amazing. A moving secret. Mingxuan probed carefully. Is there a ghost? What the hell? Mu Chongxi disdained. You are really timid. It's just a secret realm. Besides, we are now the first, and in the fifth game, no matter whether it is from the bottom or the second to last, we have already won the first place in the team competition. It's stable. After all, hunting monsters is still the main thing in the secret realm, and personal grievances must be let go first. Chang Mingzong won the fifth game no matter how many times it was. Looking at it this way, winning or losing the fifth game is actually not that important to them. Fifth game, let's say it bluntly. Zhu Yu tapped the table. We just went to play. With our Changming sect ranking first. Zhu Yu raised his head with a slight smile. Do you believe it or not, Yi Qiao will be the target of all the proficients. Yi Qiao, who was originally resting her chin, heard this, and she raised her head and immediately regained her spirits. If you say that, then I'll be rude to you. In the first few games, she either developed insignificantly, or led people to sneak attack. She won, but Yi Qiao always cared about the rankings and did not dare to be presumptuous. And now, isn't the fifth chance coming? Winning or losing has no effect on Chang Mingzong. Ellipsis. After running, everyone was exhausted physically and mentally. The next day, they needed to fly to the scene where the secret realm was opened. The in-persons could only endure the exhaustion, discuss it overnight, and make a simple plan. On Zhangjianzong's side, the lights were always on. 5 people sat together. Zhu Yu said in a low voice, the next game is the Ghost Realm. That secret realm is very weird. We will discuss the details tomorrow. Now let's talk briefly about the situation of other sects. Chang Mingzong, we want to throw an olive branch and try to pull Yi Qiao to our side, understand? She asked lightly. Why? Chu Exingji raised his chin, with a cold and disdainful expression. That Yi Qiao, we must not let her go, wait for the fifth scene, and let her know who is the master in the 5 family biographies. Even if he ran a step, he would be ridiculed by the two sword repairmen of Changmingzong in turn. Chu Exingji couldn't swallow this breath at all. Cooperate with Changmingzong? What are you kidding? But now, Changmingzong's ranking is stable, it's useless for you to eliminate her. In the 4th round, he could still struggle to eliminate Yi Qiao, but now there is no room for struggle. And it's been 4 games in a row, second senior brother. Zhu Yu sighed, haven't you recognized one fact yet? As the so-called feng shui turns, Yi Qiao is no longer the Yi Qiao who was targeted by all sects like in the 4th scene. Even if she is eliminated, it will not have any impact on Changmingzong. In the case of the first place in the 3 games, Changmingzong has already won. But the few remaining sects still have to compete for the points ranking in the last secret realm. Chu Exingji opened his eyes slightly. Recognize what reality? Don't you understand yet? Yi Qing'an held his forehead slightly, and was also fooled by this junior brother. He raised his eyes, pursed his lips, and said lightly, the reality is that the one who wins Yi Qiao will win the first place in the 5th match. Chevron _ left previous home index next chevron _ right. Tap the screen to use advanced tools tip. You can use left and right keyboard keys to browse between chapters. I saved the whole sect by playing badly. Chapter 123 4 Party Talks. In the 5th round of Changming sect, they can completely let themselves go. They don't need to compete for this ranking, and in terms of strength, Changming sect is not inferior to other sects. If they are brought together, then the number 1 in the 5th round must be Zhanjianzong. She can win the first place in 3 games. If she comes to us in the next game, the first place will be ours. Chu Exingji moved the corners of his lips, but there was no way to refute. He thought for a moment, and reluctantly said, then talk to her then. Zhu Yu said seriously, wrong. It's not to talk, it's to win her over. Chu Exingji pouted unconvinced, got it. And based on Yi Qiao's personality, he felt that the matter of winning her over was very close. Regarding the matter of the secret realm in the end, Zhu Yu dragged a few people to make up for it overnight, so that he was listless after getting on the flying boat. Zhu Yu didn't know why they were all so sleepy, so he had no choice but to poke the sleeping Yi Qiao lightly. Since the end has nothing to do with us, why not go to the secret area to practice? Every experience is practice, and there are many opportunities in the secret realm. They don't need to consider the ranking, so they can try to find opportunities for Yi Qiao to break through. What's inside? Yi Qiao yawned, still sleepy. Monster in the nascent soul stage. Zhu Yu pondered for a few seconds. There should be nothing else. I haven't heard of any secret treasures being born in the ghost secret realm recently. Nascent soul stage monsters are difficult to deal with. You can try to catch a few golden core stage ones. Actual combat is the best way to improve your cultivation. Yi Qiao just has too little pure actual combat experience. Zhou Exingyun and Mu Chongxi took turns feeding her moves these few days. After half a month, Yi Qiao's progress was visible to the naked eye. She also asked Mingxuan for help and asked him how he broke through the golden core stage. Mingxuan pondered for a long time. Do you have any obsessions? Yi Qiao was stunned for a moment. No. Right. Mingxuan, coincidentally, I don't have one either. Breakthrough is a kind of cultivation as well as state of mind. Yi Qing'an can easily break through the nascent soul stage, which shows that he is really dedicated to Taoism. In his eyes, the Tao is the truth, and Mingxuan doesn't care about it. He doesn't even know what he is practicing for. Father's expectations, family expectations, or live up to the sect. In this situation of extreme persecution, he couldn't feel the feeling of Jindan's stage at all, and he didn't even know what the purpose of cultivating Taoism was. Mingxuan, later I figured it out. To be precise, Yi Qiao had a great understanding after he came, and I can go to your family to hope. He had had enough of the occasional taunt. The same door insulted me and scolded me, and I reciprocated with a song. No one wants to dominate him. After Mingxuan finished speaking, if you really can't find your own way, just let nature take its course. Yi Qiao lowered her eyes thoughtfully. Her own way. What is her way? What do you think I belong to? Yi Qiao blinked and asked. Yi Qingyan is ruthless, and I should be Xiaoyao. Mingxuan approached her, blinking his peach blossom eyes. You should also be Xiaoyao. He thinks that Yi Qiao is more heartless than himself, so he must be on the way of freedom, right? Yi Qiao was ambiguous. It's possible. She doesn't know either. What kind of way did the elder brother practice? Zhou Exingyun pursed his lips. Too much forgetfulness. Oh, she thought it was ruthless, but it's okay. Then the third senior brother. Yi Qiao asked a lot. She really didn't remember if this point was written in the original novel. When she read the novel, she only looked at the main character, and at most she barely remembered the general idea of the supporting role. Mingxuan answered for the other party. Zhu Yu is affectionate. Yi Qiao. 666. She said, where did the third senior brother get his warm masculine aura? And the co-author is a member of the passionate Dao. What about yourself? Yi Qiao couldn't help but fell into deep thought. She had to find out her own morality if she wanted to break the golden core, but she didn't even know what she wanted to do to cultivate the Tao. At the beginning, Yi Qiao just wanted to find a sect to hang out with, but later she was kicked out of the market, and she took part in the competition with a sense of responsibility in her position. Calm down and find your own way, otherwise you will be stuck for a long time at one level. Establishing foundation and Jindan is a watershed. After the past, it is completely different. If you are in a hurry, the spiritual energy can easily go crazy, and Mingxuan's state of mind was frequently affected at the beginning. Mu Chongxi held her chin and hummed, "Don't worry, Yi Qingyan and the others were stuck in breaking through the golden core for a long time. The fastest of the 5 sects to break through the golden elixir is probably the little junior sister of Yue Qingzong." Mingxuan clicked his tongue twice, but he was curious. What is it? The 5 of them were almost beeping all the way to the secret place, and Qin Fanfan's head hurt a little after listening to them chattering all the way. Your junior sister has just made a breakthrough, and if I guess correctly, Xiaoqiao should also be in the way of freedom. In this case, let nature take its course like Mingxuan. Accompanied by the presence of several people, someone outside the venue took a large bunch of petals and sprinkled them in the sky. The pink petals floated away and fell one by one on the top of the head. Chang Mingzong. We, Yi Qiao, don't use oars to row the boat, we rely entirely on the waves. Mingxuan Shuiyu baby tilde. Mu Chongxi, mother loves you tilde. Zhou Exingyun, would you like to give me a kiss? So enthusiastic. Unprecedented enthusiasm, especially Yi Qiao. She was buried by flowers as soon as she came out, and colorful petals were sprinkled on her head. Yi Qiao couldn't help sneezing, raised her head and waved reluctantly. Hi. Ah, Lang Lang, are these the petals we sprinkled for you? Don't they look good? Yi Qiao. The man continued, in the individual competitions from now on, we will throw flowers as soon as you appear on stage. How about we throw flowers as soon as you appear on stage? Yi Qiao calmly patted the petals on the clothes. Fine. It's pretty good. She can imagine that in the individual competition, as soon as she came out, the opponent hadn't spoken, and before the person arrived, the flowers would float first. At that time, it will have its own special effects, and the effect will be awesome. Chang Mingzong's group made such a big commotion when they came here. Several other clan members sat in their seats and stood up to take a look. Yi Qingyan cleared his throat, and said softly, Yi Qiao. Shall we chat? Yi Qiao. Song Hansheng tapped the table with his fingertips and urged, talk. Yi Qiao. Meow Meow also waved at her. Cooperate with us. At the beginning, the turnaround was so beautiful that she still has a little fondness for Yi Qiao. Qin Huai raised his chin, and signaled Duan Hengdao to come forward to communicate with her. He was not familiar with Yi Qiao, but Duan Hengdao seemed to have a relationship with Yi Qiao before. At the beginning Duan Hengdao reminded him several times to be careful of that Yi Qiao, but Qin Huai didn't take it seriously. Now it's his turn to suffer retribution. He had to rely on his junior brother to bribe Yi Qiao. This is simply the famous scene of the 4-party talks. Ming Xuan casually teased, "The 4 personal biographers have sent you secret glances and invitations. Have you decided who to choose?" Yi Qiao, "I haven't made up my mind yet." She really picked it up. Yue Qingzong definitely can't do it. The girl pondered for a moment and said, "Those who lose themselves will never lose." She thought for a long time, and then gave a suggestion. "Hey, why don't you discuss the bid? Whoever is higher, who will I go with?" A personal biography couldn't help cursing, shameless. Even sitting on the ground raised the price. Si Miaoyan tentatively said, "Cooperate with us, we have pills." Danshu is rich. Song Han said, "We also have money." Duan Hengdao, "We also have it. There are magic tools, don't you have no other magic tools? I will give you." Yi Qiao was the worst personal heir he had ever seen. The spirit bow belonged to the Jade Water Sect, the stick was taken from the belly of the monster, and the rope was given by him. Yi Qing'an was silent for a while. They had no money. "Wait, let's not talk about cooperation." Zhu Yu interrupted them. "Let's discuss it first, so don't worry." Zhu Yu lowered his voice slightly. "We will not go with them when we enter the secret realm this time. We will meet after we enter, and then look for opportunities. There is no need to spread the muddy water in the 5th round. Chang Mingzong can completely hang on to nothing about himself, and now helping Yi Qiao break through is the most important thing." Ming Xuan nodded. "There are many opportunities in the ghost secret realm." Seeing this, several pro-inheritors also calmed down. Chang Mingzong must have been able to woo them, and they were extremely united. If they pulled one into the team, the others must follow. Prepare to wait until you get in before robbing people. When the secret realm was opened, it was night after coming in, the moon was dark and the wind was high. In this environment, it was very suitable for doing bad things. Yi Qiao slightly opened her eyes and her eyes were a little out of focus. She stared blankly for a while, listening to the quiet movements around her, almost thought I was singled out again. No one in the great secret realm can guarantee that he is not the lucky one who is alone. She got up from the ground, clapped her hands, and found Mu Chongxi lying dead on the ground, 4th senior brother. It was rare to meet Mu Chongxi. "So, who is the lucky one?" Yi Qiao sighed. "Get up. What are you doing?" She came in a little late and was the last one in line, so she didn't know what Mu Chongxi had gone through alone. The young man lay on the ground with his head bowed, and was forced to put on a pain mask. He blinked. "You're here." The 2 sword cultivators were very happy to meet each other. Don't care about Mingxun and Zhu Yu's life and death, then they should fight on their own in the 5th match. The arrival of Yi Qiao gave Mu Chongxi some energy. He changed from lying down to lying down, and knocked on the ground. "I walked around here alone for a long time before you came, and every time I circled back to the original place. Road." Mu Chongxi's memory is not good either. After walking a few times tentatively, he was completely ruined. Wouldn't it be okay if he didn't leave? After hearing this, Yi Qiao stretched out her hand to grab Mu Chongxi, and the 2 walked forward together. The trees were lined up one after another, and it was night again, and the atmosphere was eerie. She had a good memory, and deliberately memorized the characteristics of the roadside. It was the same as Mu Chongxi said. "No matter how you go, It seems that you will circle back to the original point every time. Can't go out. Yi Qiao took out the map in her hand. I remember the third senior brother said before that this secret realm can move. It's impossible to move with us. The secret realm is not alive. How is this possible? Mu Chongxi retorted. It's strange that he can't get out after wandering around now. Yi Qiao pondered for a moment. The direction we are going must be okay. After going back and forth a few times, she thoroughly memorized the general route here, but every time she would repeat the scene in front of her and come back, the problem might not be theirs. Yi Qiao speculated. It may be a blindfold. It is similar to the illusion that can trap people in a certain range. In the past, this kind of situation did not happen when entering the secret realm. Sure enough, Zhu Yu was right. This secret realm is weirder than the previous one. Mu Chongxi nodded blankly. It makes sense. Since it's a blindfold. She patted Mu Chongxi, paused, and said sincerely, why don't you go out and try? Close your eyes and hit it. I believe you, it's okay. Mu Chongxi, if I get hit to death, will you collect my body? Yi Qiao made an okay gesture. I will ask Ming Xuan to buy you the best cemetery. Fine. With a skeptical attitude, Mu Chongxi really went to try it out. He had the Vajra talisman Yi Qiao gave him in his arms, so he wouldn't be hit to death by one head. The young man got lucky and turned his head towards the tree blocking the way. He rushed out, 1 second before his figure disappeared. The scene in front of him dissipated in an instant. Yi Qiao is out. Mu Chongxi's voice was clear. Seeing that he wasn't hit, Yi Qiao stepped out of the illusion, and the first thing they did after they left was to open the jade slip. Sure enough, the rate of increase did not move at all, and it seemed that this happened to everyone else more or less. Like a ghost hitting a wall, this secret realm is really weird. Zhu Yu and Ming Xuan were trapped in the same place. It took them a long time to realize that this was an illusion. When they saw the jade slips, they looked at each other in unison. Yue Qingzong is so fierce here. In the past, Zhang Jianzong was the first one. Ming Xuan also said. Although they disliked the group of sword cultivators who asked about the sword sect, they had no doubts about their strength. The other sects remained motionless, but the number of Yuqing sects increased slightly and rapidly. Maybe it's good luck. Zhu Yu lowered his head and collected his expression. I just don't know if other people have encountered our situation. Ellipsis. Have you learned about this secret realm in advance? Song Hansheng asked. Yun Qiu smiled and said sweetly, yes. So this time everyone just follow me. I have been to this secret realm before. To be more precise, it was here that she broke through to the golden core stage. The ghost secret realm appeared frequently, and Yun Qiu had been here before by accident. In other words, no one knows this secret realm better than her, and she has other cards. Looking at the girl's determined and confident appearance, Song Hansheng nodded calmly, follow her. He had made a simple understanding, but after all, he had never been here in person. It is indeed the best choice to follow Yunk at this time. Big brother. Yun Qiu's eyes fluttered. Believe it or not, the number one this time must be ours. Song Hansheng didn't know where her self-confidence came from, but self-confidence is also a good thing. For example, Yi Qiao's self-confidence was unmatched by anyone. He nodded perfunctorily and took a look at the jade slip. Sure enough, the ranking is stable at the first place. It was the first time this happened. He couldn't help but glance at Yun Qiu, and said in a low voice, I underestimated you. It turned out to be useful too. Don't worry, follow the outline, and Yun Qiu will be taken offline. Chevron _left previous home index next chevron _right. Tap the screen to use advanced tools tip. You can use left and I saved the whole sect by playing badly. Chapter 124 Illusion. Each sect had communicated before entering the secret realm, specifically where to meet up. Yi Qiao picked up the map and rushed to the destination after coming out, preparing to meet other people first. In the dead of night, there are still black bats standing upside down quietly on the tree, always ready to choose someone to eat. Yi Qiao detected the movement in the sea of consciousness, and went forward with Mu Chongxi to solve it. After the peak of foundation building, the width of the sea of consciousness has also increased, can easily detect the movement around. Because they were still on the periphery, the level of monsters was not high. After the two killed the monsters on the tree, the number on the jade slip jumped, and the other sects also rose slowly. It seemed that they had found a way to get out. The other sects should have encountered ghosts hitting the wall. Yi Qiao pursed her lips. Let's meet up first. Follow the route given by the map. After arriving at the inner circle, it was almost dawn, and the surrounding area became hazy with fog. After confirming that there was no danger, Yi Qiao lit a wind talisman on her fingertips to disperse the fog. It was clear. Mu Chongxi glanced at it. Needless to say, the talisman repair operation is Doha. In this kind of scene where the weather changes from time to time, it is obviously much more comfortable to follow Fu Xiu. With the talisman in hand, this kind of weird weather didn't affect them too much. After going to the inner circle to meet up, they found that several other senior brothers were already waiting. You guys are faster than us. Yi Qiao raised his eyebrows. Did you also run into an illusion when you came in? Zhu Yu spoke at the same time as her, obviously aware of the problem. It seems that they're all the same, and they encountered a blindfold when they came in. Yi Qiao nodded. How did you get out? The illusion of the two of us was created by the elder brother's sword. Ming Xuan shrugged. Zhou Exingyun was more reckless than them. He slashed at him with a sword, and he didn't take Ming Xuan and Zhu Yu inside as human beings at all. But in the same way, since the elder brother's sword light can penetrate, it means that everything in front of him is fake, and the two of them immediately plunged out, breaking the blindfold in front of them. The speed of the rendezvous of the Changming sect was the fastest in history. Mu Chongxi was in a daze. Eldest brother, why did you come out? And even rescued the other two. Zhou Exingyun is innocent. He walked out. As soon as he came in, he slammed straight into the tree, and the posture of wanting to hit the tree to death successfully broke the blindfold. It can be said that he is the fastest one in the team. Why did this secret realm give us a fix as soon as it came up? Zhu Yu lowered his eyes. Could it be that this secret realm can predict where they will land? I also find it strange. Ming Xuan propped one hand on the ground, and sat lazily. The speed is so fast. Did Yue Qingzong not encounter the illusion? Maybe it's luck. Yi Qiao squeezed the KFC and let it out. That's the daughter of God. Yunk has a new name. If it is said that Yi Qiao is always jumping around every time she is with her, then Yun Q is the opposite. The other party is so lucky that it explodes. There are a lot of mustard bags of natural treasures, and they can't beat the resources. A blue Luan bird and a treasure hunting beast, well, she can get such things as Yuanyuan beads casually, not what is Tiandao's own daughter. Mu Chongxi pursed her lips. Leave them alone. Chang Mingzong had nothing to do with who won the fifth game, and Yue Qingzong's luck was not up to them. It was just dawn, and the fog was still gathering to block the sight ahead. Yi Qiao and Ming Xuan opened the way ahead with a wind talisman, ready to look for any special opportunities in the inner circle. After they acted, several other sects also came out of the cover-up one after another, but unfortunately they were a little late in time, and Yue Qingzong's one-night effort was already enough for Yue Qingzong to get rid of a small gap. At present, it seems that Yue Qingzong is in the lead, and Zhan Wenzong is hotly chasing. Chang Mingzong ranked last in the fifth game, but they are not important. They're already in the first place anyway, so the protagonists of the fifth game are not them, but the other four schools. even though so many monks subconsciously looked in the direction. Whether it is the protagonist or not is not important, the main thing is that they are more interesting to watch. With all the relatives entering the arena, Kiki stepped into the inner circle immediately, and the atmosphere in the secret realm changed slightly. Yi Qiao was keenly aware of several strange breaths, as well as slight noises. She just wanted to remind him that someone was coming, but the next second the other party's breath suddenly restrained and rushed towards him. She raised her eyes in astonishment, but the person who did not expect to come was Yi Qing'an. The boy's eyes were cold, and he slashed at her without saying a word. A sword slashed down, and the sword light was majestic. Mu Chongxi reacted quickly, raised his hand to block it with his sword, and said in a cold voice, "Are you crazy? With your attitude, you still want to cooperate with our Changming sect? Just dream." The opponent's sword is really merciless. If he hadn't also broken through a realm, he might not be able to withstand it. Yi Qing'an woke up suddenly, realizing that the scene in front of him was a real person. He frowned. "I'm sorry. I just encountered an illusion." No wonder it's like crazy. Illusions do not often appear in the secret realm, and once they appear, it means trouble. After stepping into the inner circle, almost all personal legends have fallen into it. Yue Qingzong is the one who studies illusions. Most of their formations are based on illusions. Yunhen said in a deep voice, "Yi Qing'an should be the fastest to come out." Illusions are easy for those with a firm mind, but difficult for those with weak willpower. Everyone has obsessions and malice, more or less. Even the children of the righteous way cannot avoid encountering dim sum demons, or obsessions, which will have some influence in the illusion. Yunhen's words are not wrong. Yi Qing'an is indeed the fastest one among several personal stories. If there is a disagreement, he will go down with a sword, and all those blocking the way will be split. This is probably the first time that the illusion has encountered such a stubble. Seeing that his obsession had no effect, he tried to use beauty tricks. As a result, as soon as he threw himself into his arms and hugged him, Yi Qing'an pierced his chest coldly with a sword, and talked about his feelings with him, so let's not talk about it. After killing several hallucinations in a row, Yi Qing'an came out for a moment and couldn't distinguish between real and fake and reality illusion. The second before seeing Chang Mingzong, Yi Qing'an almost thought it was the illusion that he wanted to win over Chang Mingzong, so he jumped out to confuse him. The result is not. Yi Qing'an put away the sword in his hand, and after resolutely apologizing, Zhu Yu raised his eyebrows and asked, "Have you encountered an illusion?" "Yeah," Yi Qing'an said concisely, "in a circle. Everyone is trapped. I advise you not to go in." He was purely reminding that the other sects wanted to enter because they wanted to win the ranking, and the Changming sect didn't need it, so there was no need to take risks in this case. In the illusion, you can see yourself. Inner demons, evil thoughts, and obsessions can all be turned into useful weapons. On the contrary, the purer the monk's mind, the faster he will come out. Obviously, all the sword cultivators in the secret realm are the fastest in breaking the illusion. They don't have so many distracting thoughts and won't get lost easily. As for other sects, they are still struggling in different illusions. A monk sighed, "Yi Qing'an, you are ruthless." This shows that he is now devoted to Taoism, which is also very good. The purer the mind, the faster it will come out, so we can see who comes out the latest. No one can guarantee that they have no malicious intentions, and what is presented in the illusion is the most real side of their hearts. Ellipsis. Hearing Yi Qing'an's kind advice, Yi Qiao thought about his previous state again, and understood why he had fallen towards him with a sword. Zhu Yu nodded slightly at Yi Qing'an. "Let's go in and take a look." One has to enter the inner circle. Opportunities and risks always coexist. Yi Qing'an saw that they would not listen to persuasion, and was too lazy to waste his time talking. He asked lightly, "Yi Qiao, you also go in with them?" Yi Qiao laughed. Otherwise. Yi Qing'an still didn't give up, and wanted to win her over. You might as well cooperate with us. When the time comes out of the secret realm, I can teach you how to use a sword. Seeing this, Zhou Exingyun was lukewarm. What are you? Let's go and see what the illusion looks like. Seeing them dawdling, Mu Chongxi grabbed one of them with one hand and dragged them to the inner circle. But after entering the inner circle, they're more or less dragged into the illusion, and obviously this illusion is still consciously dragging people. It knows how to find the kind of people who are deeply scheming at first sight. This type is generally more or less obsession will be very heavy. As soon as a group of people stepped into the inner circle, the scene under their feet changed, and the voices in their ears gradually disappeared, as if only themselves were left in the world at this moment. On Changmingzong's side, Zhu Yu was the first to enter the illusion. After Zhu Yu stepped into the illusion, he felt dizzy for a while, opened his eyes slightly. The scene has changed. He has a map of mountains and rivers. He will not be trapped by the illusion, and he was born in a big family. His situation is different from Mingshuan. This is a rare Danshu. There is pressure, but not much. Except that Zongmen was a little poorer. He really didn't encounter any setbacks. The illusion swallowed him like it swallowed loneliness, and in the end reluctantly spit out this sane and perverted personal biography, targeting the remaining few people. Mu Chongxi's illusion is also a bit weird, and he doesn't know what to think about that illusion. Once he steps in, when people's thoughts are confused and they're in a daze, they are most likely to be brainwashed. As a result, this illusion came up to try to construct a scene for him to be crowned as king, in order to let Mu Chongxi indulge in the joy of luxury and luxury. Mu Chongxi woke up in an instant. He slashed it with a sword. Sick. Who is going to be crowned king and dominate the world? It's shameful to waste money, you know. Mirage. He stared blankly at these outsiders. I can't figure out why it's so hard to do. The last sword cultivator also hacked its secret realm without saying a word. The last one, the tone is light and sleepy. It can be seen that he has reached a state of no desire and no desire. Zhou Exingyun asked it, what can you conjure? It was stuck. Because this person has no demons, no obsessions, and no malice. Seeing the contents of the illusion outside the venue, they were also silent for a while. I'm laughing to death, haha. Zhou Exingyun is too forgetful, right? It's a bit different from the ruthless way, but they really have no desires like the world. You want him to fall. Quickly, look at other personal biography. The illusion was broken up by Mu Chongxi's sword, and it was stunned for a while, unwilling to read his memory. This sword repairer is very simple, except for the sword. Some of his classmates are in his mind. Illusion thought for a long time, didn't know what to think. His brain had a twitch, and he imagined the scene of Yi Qiao throwing himself into his arms. After it read Mu Chongxi's memory, it found that the girl with the most contacts was the little junior sister named Yi Qiao. They have been with each other for so long, so they must have some ideas, right? It has transformed its image and is ready to make a new appearance. It is bound to capture this group of people and lock them in the secret realm. Mu Chongxi, who shattered the illusion with a sword, just wanted to say a few words like, but that's all. But when he turned around, the boy's expression froze. After the scene dissipated, Yi Qiao in dark blue clothes slowly appeared like a dog. Forget it, Yi Qiao smiled. Mu Chongxi had seen many kinds of her smiles, shallow smiles, and sneers, but she had never seen her shy smile. Grass. Are you crazy? He ran away in fright, and the fake Yi Qiao chased after him frantically. Fourth senior brother. The fake Yi Qiao who was chasing after him yelled aggrievedly, I have admired you for a long time. Consider becoming a Taoist partner with me. The scene is too magical. Imagine that a good brother who has been playing together for more than a year suddenly confesses to himself. It should not be too scary. Damn. Don't mess with me. Mu Chongxi started running desperately. I laughed silly outside. Ha 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 ha. Thank you for letting me see our shy expressions. I feel that the illusion is also quite collapsed. A bunch of things that don't get in. In a panic, Mu Chongxi slashed through the illusion with a sword, and rushed out in fright. Damn it, it's too scary. Zhu Yu, who came out first, was waiting. Hearing this, he raised his head. Ha! What did you see? Mu Chongxi, Yi Qiao suddenly showed love to me. Do you think it's scary? Zhu Yu couldn't put it into words. That's true, it's scary. The illusion couldn't help trembling with anger. It didn't get discouraged after failing 3 times in a row, and continued to find people to brainwash. So many personal biography can always be found. Its next target is the personal biography named Mingxuan. Judging from the memory of the other party, he lacks self-confidence more than the others. Mirage continued to work hard and began to weave dreams, so that the most hated person in the youth's memory appeared in front of him, constantly surrounding him. Brainwash each other. In the illusion, people's malice will be continuously magnified, and it only takes a little bit to trap the other party and get lost in it. After weaving the illusion, the original scene reappeared. Mingxuan lowered his eyes and fell silent for a moment, looking at a few familiar figures. He moved his fingertips lightly. Is it going to be blackened? Fantasia agitated. The young man raised his head blankly, and began to point at everyone. You deserve to talk to me, too. Pay attention to the tone of the conversation with Fushu Genius. Mirage. It turns out that this is a self-confidence personal transmission. Then it couldn't figure out why there were so many negative emotions in his memory in the first place. The illusion that can't figure it out can only silently look for the next target. My good guy Chang Mingzong came out faster than Yi Qing'an, so the other 4 have experienced it once. So it's Yi Qiao's turn next. With the last ray of hope in hand, Mirage stretched out its demonic claws to Yi Qiao, who had the lowest cultivation level. She shouldn't have such a devilish style of painting, right? Chevron _ left previous home index next chevron _ right. Tap the screen to use advanced tools tip. You can use left and right keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Saved the whole sect by playing badly. Chapter 125. What did you do to it? Yi Qiao was the last one to be pulled in. When she opened her eyes, her thoughts were chaotic, her head was empty, and she was in a state of, who am I and where am I? It felt very mysterious, and the moment she stepped in, she couldn't even remember her own name. There is a similarity between this illusion and the map of mountains and rivers. As soon as it came up to read Yi Qiao's memory, it was a little confused by the mess of thoughts. Generally speaking, monks don't have such a complicated memory, but this Yi Qiao's painting style is very strange, and there are many memories in his mind that he has never seen before. The place. This illusion is somewhat similar to the map of mountains and rivers, and immediately began to construct the scene for Yi Qiao when she went to work. To tell you the truth, as a social animal in this life, the most troublesome party in the fantasy world, she was scolded bloody, modifying various design drafts. Yi Qiao was in a state of confusion. After being scolded for the first suddenly, she woke up suddenly. What is this? What a strange scene. No, doesn't she have anyone she hates? The illusion will magnify the malice in people's hearts countless times. Mingxuan hates those who look down on him, and those direct descendants of the family who ridicule him. Mirage is very antidote to the problem. The monks outside the arena were also quite curious. What did Yi Qiao hate the most? This kind of illusion can best pry into the malice, fear, and selfish desire deep in the heart of people. Seeing the real self in the illusion, they are very happy to see a group of illusions handed down by themselves, and they can get a glimpse of what kind of people they're by the way. Yi Qiao is the most eye-catching, and her personality is the most erratic. She thought she could use the illusion to see what she was afraid of in her heart, but it turned out to be this strange scene when she came in. What is a design draft? What is Party A? Ha! Yi Qiao is afraid of this kind of thing. What are you afraid of? Hit him, Yi Qiao. Why do you point at you? He deserves it too. Give him a sword quickly and let him know who is in charge of the cultivation world. A group of monks were filled with righteous indignation. Yi Qiao became sober after being scolded. She wiped her face, and after realizing that this illusion was a fool, she ruthlessly broke the scene in front of her with a fist, and said coldly, "Get lost." Caught off guard. But fortunately, with those people in front of him getting vaccinated, it also knew to some extent that this might not be a good thing, and it was not discouraged when the first illusion was forced. Soon another scene was constructed. Yi Qiao raised her eyes, and saw that the illusion had gradually transformed into her own appearance, wearing exactly the same in-person uniform. The other party pressed his face and said word by word in a soft voice, "Yi Qiao." The voices are all the same. Yi Qiao admitted that for a moment, she had goosebumps. It was so real, it was like talking to herself, and it even made Yi Qiao feel confused about who I am. Seeing Yi Qiao's reaction, Mirage continued to smile and said, "I know who you are and what you want to do." Yi Qiao looked at herself calmly. "Do you know what I want to do?" "Yes," Wanjing said softly. "You've been thinking about saving him, right? You're trying to change something. But what can you change, Yi Qiao? You only have a foundation building cultivation, and when the time comes, maybe even yourself it can't be saved, can it?" They refer to the brothers in the original book. Yi Qiao realized that she had really underestimated the illusion. It was far more advanced than the mountains and rivers map, a spiritual weapon, an illusion that had survived for thousands of years in the secret realm, and even these were clear. When the illusion reads the memory, it can only read the most desire, fear, or deepest malice in the other party's heart. Some thoughts are pure, true, and the most difficult to deal with. And this Yi Qiao is easier to solve than the previous ones. The fact that her memory is too complicated means that, unlike those who passed on her personally, she has no distracting thoughts and is dedicated to the Tao. The possibility of keeping her has also greatly increased. Mirage slowly raised the corners of his lips, and continued to preach in a persuasive manner, "You can't do anything well at all, can you? Stay here." It said softly, "Anyone will instinctively chase the light. Stay here, and I will guide you. Don't you want to save them?" Yi Qiao's voice stayed for a while. When she smashed the illusion with her punch, the monks thought it was over, but they didn't. The illusion was still being constructed. Obviously this time, Yi Qiao hesitated. The monk who didn't know why murmured, "Who is she trying to save? This illusion is very dangerous." A monk who has traveled all over the world for many years said in a deep voice, "Don't look at it failing several times like a fool before. It is because the other few have clean minds and are not easy to overcome. Once they are brainwashed by it, they will get lost in it and become nourishment. Look first, I don't think Yi Qiao will be bewitched." Not necessarily. She obviously hesitated. Yi Qiao did hesitate, but it just surprised her that this illusion knew so much, and could transform into various images. It was amazing. Seeing that she was silent, Mirage asked softly, "Can you feel the light?" "I feel it now." It smiled softly, and finally brainwashed this personal transmission. So we are all Yi Qiao, people who believe in light. The girl looked up as if she had suddenly found a confidant, and shook hands with it excitedly, as if meeting the leader. "Do you like Ultraman too? That's great. What is Ultraman? Are you okay?" That Yi Qiao's excited appearance did not seem to be fake. She could see that she really liked Ultraman. The face of the illusion was twisted for a moment, and then it made the most stupid decision. It tentatively became what she imagined in her mind. Then he took a step closer to her. Yi Qiao looked at this Ultraman, her lips curled up calmly. She was basically sure that it could really transform anything in her mind. That was really very good. One person, one illusion is like the leaders meeting and frantically shaking hands. This is not right. Mirage thought calmly. Things shouldn't have developed like this, and it had already successfully brainwashed about half of her before. Mirage decided to make persistent efforts. It said softly, "Do you have faith?" Everyone has. Like the sword repairer named Yi Qing'an before. May I ask which sword cultivator in the world does not yearn for number one in the way of the sword, the patriarch who cut out typing with a sword, and coincidentally, the girl in front of me in memory is also a sword cultivator. Yes. Yi Qiao looked as if she had found her confidant. Its eyes lit up, just as it was about to conjure up the image of the patriarch of swordsmanship for her. In the end, Yi Qiao said sincerely, unhurriedly, "I am a follower of Jack Ma." It froze for a few seconds. Who is that? The illusion doesn't understand. This involves the blind spot of the illusion. It doesn't even know who Jack Ma is. The illusion has lived for thousands of years and devoured countless geniuses of various schools. It was the first time it encountered such a hard stubble. In order to conceal that it was uneducated and did not know Ma Yun, it decided to change the topic. Other than that, what do you desire in your heart? Yi Qiao heard what it said. Laughed slowly. She was testing before, whether it wanted to keep her because of this. Don't worry about it now, it is the plan. It would be a pity not to make the best use of it. Yi Qiao nodded and smiled. The girl lowered her eyes, looking embarrassed. I have never been good at swordsmanship. I wonder if you can come and practice, the third form of Qingfeng Ju. I couldn't learn it before, and those who asked the swordsman were laughing at me. Yi Qiao said softly, I know that my talent is poor, but I will work hard. The girl looked a little lonely, and looked extremely sad. This depressed mood made Mirage happy. It's a good thing to have emotions, even if you meet Yi Qing'an's tough-headed swordsman, no matter what image it conjures up, he will remain indifferent. Yi Qiao didn't lie, and the performance just now revealed her true feelings. Chang Mingzong's Qingfeng Ju has its own differences in each form, and she can't figure out the third form, and so is Mu Chongxi. The two of them were frequently reprimanded by Elder Duan for this. Fortunately, they had a natural sword bone and hadn't learned it yet, so Yi Qiao wouldn't be beaten by Elder Duan alone. She took a deep breath. This is my lifelong wish. Wanjing didn't doubt her words. Sword cultivators are all sword idiots. It's okay to want to see the sword formula. Don't move here, it said. I'll go and learn first. It has drawn too many monks into the illusion, and the amount of information is also huge. It needs to sort out thoughts, and when this personal transmission is completely brainwashed, it will be easy to devour her. Yi Qiao said hello in a low voice. She waited for a while, and the illusion appeared again. It really came with the Qingfeng Ju. The third pose was set up, and it was facing Yi Qiao's face. Yi Qiao's image was also transformed, and the imitated habits were naturally Yi Qiao's own. Seeing Mirage imitate Qingfeng Ju one-on-one with her own appearance, isn't it more effective than her? If there is something wrong, you can make adjustments by comparison. Taught. Yi Qiao cupped her hands and continued, I also want to see one of the four formations, the floating formation. Aren't you a sword cultivator? You may not believe it when you tell it. She continued to talk without changing her face. I am a sword cultivator with dreams, and I also want to learn talisman repair formations to gain insights. A floating dream, Yue Qingzong's famous phantom formation. This Yi Qiao. Elder Yue Qingzong couldn't sit still. She is shameless. What's the point? Learn formations from the illusion. She didn't learn from your disciple. Why are you so anxious? Qin Fanfan sneered. This is just an illusion. Yue Qingzong almost fainted. She wasn't as wicked as that before, cheating people's illusions. Are these really her obsessions? The illusion on the other side also has some doubts about life. It's over. It was panting, and finally smiled. Have you considered staying? It was not easy for Yi Qiao to look at it. Wang Jingchong's performance was too hard, so she began to applaud. It's amazing. The illusion was dissipated for a few seconds and quickly gathered again. This is not what it wants to hear. It wanted to hear her say that she stayed and was willing to be its nourishment, not to praise it for being awesome. Yi Qiao, don't you hate it? Wang Jing took a deep breath, moved closer to her, and became her again, with a low voice and laughed, whispering in her ear repeatedly, Yue Qingzong, those who look down on you your people, don't you desire to trample them under your feet one day? It was difficult to see any changes in Yi Qiao's expression. Sure enough, the illusion was guided in several steps. First, she transformed into her appearance, trying to make her doubt herself. After finding that it was useless, she wanted to continue to seduce her with the obsession in her memory. After 2 failed attempts, try to stimulate the original owner with her bad memory. I hate it. Yi Qiao lowered her eyes and clenched her fists in order not to let her mind collapse. But I can't resist them, you know, I'm just a foundation builder, I can't even save myself. A mirage smile appeared on his face. Then you can ask me for help. So, Yi Qiao's face was full of dissatisfaction and sadness. She raised her eyes, and said slowly in the most innocent tone, I also want to see what Tianpin elixir and Lingji look like. I was in the Yuqing sect when I was young, and I never saw the world. For a moment, Wang Jing was so angry that his face was ferocious, and he swore that he must eat her today. This personal transmission is the purest aura it has ever seen. If you don't eat it, it will not be reconciled to death. Yi Qiao looked at the illusion in front of her that was exactly the same as herself. With that uncontrollable expression, she clicked her tongue silently. Just like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, it seemed that she really wanted to devour herself. Ellipsis. After waiting outside the arena for a long time, I didn't see Yi Qiao coming out. It has been a night since Yi Qiao went in. Is she forced by her own malice so that she can't come out now? Su Juo asked. Anyone trapped in the illusion will be more or less malicious. Who can guarantee that they are the cleanest? Others were also curious about what she had seen so that she had been trapped inside for so long and couldn't get out. The sooner you come out of the illusion, the less distracting thoughts you have in your heart. People with a pure mind will generally go farther along the road of cultivation, while those with inner demons who have been trapped for a long time and cannot get out are basically useless. The way is clear. If you can't get rid of the demons and abandon distracting thoughts, what kind of way do you still want to go home and feed the pigs? Chu Xingji also couldn't figure it out. What is Yi Qiao doing in there? They were all waiting for Yi Qiao to come out to talk about the cooperation. The atmosphere was rare and harmonious, but the person involved remained silent inside. Can't you really be trapped by yourself? The illusion inside also has some mentality collapsed. It usually transforms the obsession in the mind of the other party, seeing the true self, being bewitched by oneself, questioning, and doubting oneself continuously, until it is completely brainwashed. As a result, she didn't follow the routine in this personal transmission. After it transformed into her, Yi Qiao actually smiled slightly, then took a step back, and began to make a wish. I want to see the sword skills of Changfengzong, Yuqingzong, and Wenjianzong. Please satisfy me. This is my only obsession. Then you are so fucking obsessed. Yi Qiao felt that as the so-called know yourself and your enemy, you will win every battle, the team competition and the individual competition are too tight. Basically, after the 5th round is over, it will be the individual competition. That being the case, let's talk about it after she has figured out the sword moves of the direct disciples of the various sects. The illusion was tormented by her a little crazy, and it changed again and again under the domination, and finally asked angrily, "Are you going or not?" Unfortunately, Yi Qiao, before I learned it, I was going to settle down. Sword moves are nothing more than practice makes perfect, but those who fought with her before were either more skilled than her, or had been learning swords longer than her. Elder Duan also taught her, but the effect was not great. But when fighting against yourself, you can analyze your own weaknesses while fighting, and make adjustments constantly. From being young to being able to swing a sword freely today, you can see your growth with the naked eye. Your disciple, you are making rapid progress. In 2 days, she used the illusion to transform countless selves. The illusion is divided into 6, and Yi Qiao's psychological quality is quite perverted when she pulls her to train her. She trains against so many herself, but she is still stable. This practice of getting better and better, which has not been done for a long time, allowed Yi Qiao to find the state of concentration when he first read the sword formula. Mirage has been tormented insanely. It has fought Yi Qiao for so long. Not only has she not been brainwashed, but the fighting has become more and more fierce. Yi Qiao transformed into 6 herself in a row. After being kicked away by a surprise attack again, she stopped her footsteps slightly and stopped abruptly. The next second, instead of advancing, she retreated, and suddenly pressed the approaching breeze art to activate her. The third move, she was caught off guard, blast away. The self in front of him dissipated in an instant. The third form of King Feng Ju, it is very quiet and hard to be noticed when it is activated, and it will be blown up once it gets close. Awesome. Yi Qiao is awesome. What a pervert. Time dragged on longer and longer, but Yi Qiao didn't intend to stop at all. The illusion became numb. It dragged on for so long, just wanting to eat her. Such a pure spiritual root is rare in 1,000 years, and it wasted so much time. It would not be reconciled if it didn't eat her. Up to now, it has gradually recognized the reality. The man didn't even think about it. It's like a training ground. After kicking the phantom again, Yi Qiao stepped on the ground and landed lightly. Just when she was about to try again, the world was spinning before her eyes. When she opened her eyes again, the ground had changed. The illusion dissipated and Yi Qiao was released. She was in a slightly complicated mood, and then said shamelessly, "Its heart is so fragile." The monks who saw what she did couldn't help but want to criticize her, Yi Qiao. The guarding senior brothers looked at each other and regained their energy. It was finally released. Zhu Yu grabbed her, looked at her for a long time, and asked, "What did it do to you?" For 2 whole days, they almost thought she was completely lost in it. Yi Qiao was still in a trance when she came out. She collected herself, and said slowly, "Did it show me the ever-changing swordsmanship?" Ha! Everyone thought she was trapped by herself, but from what she said, it didn't seem to be the case. Chu Xingji was already impatient. "Why did it take you so long to come out?" "For a long time." Yi Qiao blinked. She was a little confused in the illusion. She scratched her head, and clicked softly, "I want to go in again." She was about to feel it, and was kicked out halfway. Yi Qiao felt a little regretful. The voice just fell. The illusion is broken. In the true sense, it split open. The originally ethereal illusion in the void was torn in 2 without a sound, and rushed out like crazy. "Ah." Yi Qiao. Zhu Yu changed his words. His tone was strange. "What did you do to it?" Yi Qiao. 5,000, it's a plus. Chevron _ left previous home index next chevron _ right. Tap the screen to use advanced tools. Tip: the whole sect by playing badly. Chapter 126. I probably know what my Tao is. I saved the whole sect by playing badly. Chapter 126. I probably know what my Tao is. Zhu Yu's sincere question made it difficult for her to answer. After all, she just made a few trivial wishes. Who is to blame for the poor psychological endurance of the illusion? Yi Qiao raised her hand to cover her eyes, stared at the illusion that ran out, clicked her tongue twice, and looked away as if nothing had happened. What are you all doing here? The members of the Yuqing sect and the sword-seeking sect are all guarding here. Chu Xingji, wait for you. My junior sister asked me to win you over. He clenched the sword at his waist with his fingertips, and said in a calm voice, cooperate with our swordsmanship sect. When the time comes, our two sects will combine their swords and we will be able to dominate the secret realm together. Yi Qiao, hey. Dominate the secret realm. Seeing that Yi Qiao really thought about it, Song Hansheng squinted his eyes, and said without hesitation, those poor swordsmen have no money. Anyway, you don't participate in the 5th round. If you go with us, we have money. Indeed. From Song Hansheng's family background to Zongmen, he is indeed quite rich. No, no, no. We won't cooperate today. Yi Qiao pointed at his light blue imperial uniform, and smiled slightly. Money is not enough, you Yuqingzong, this is another price. Song Hansheng looked at her coldly. Then how much do you need before you are willing to cooperate with us? In fact, it's okay not to cooperate with Yi Qiao. They have Yunqiu, and the ranking is stable. I'm afraid that Yi Qiao is a variable. In the first 2 days, being overturned by her gave people a bit of a shadow, which made Song Hansheng not dare to let her go to another sect easily. Don't worry. Our Changming sect will not cooperate with anyone this time. Zhu Yu said calmly, we don't plan to get involved in the 5th match, so it's better for you to compete fairly. Hearing what he said, Song Hansheng frowned, and quickly let go. That's fine too. Anyway, if they couldn't get Yuqingzong to win over, don't even think about other sects. If Changmingzong didn't get involved in the 5th match, then it would be a fair competition. Other than that, everyone else was wondering what was going on in that illusion. Why did it crack? What the hell did you do to it? Yi Qiao thought this secret realm was very interesting. She pondered for a moment. That thing is quite interesting. It can change 72 times. Do you understand? The more you think about something in your heart, it will change for you, and I started to change it constantly. Obsession, let it come out, other swordsmanship. It can be seen that Mirage is also a hard-working person, and he works hard to fill his stomach on weekdays. Su Juo pursed his lips. So, you disappeared for so long, just to torment the illusion. Su Juo couldn't help feeling suspicious. Isn't she trapped by demons? Su Juo saw the Yi Qiao back then in that real and fake illusion. Although the second senior sister was dull at that time, she took good care of him, and she would never be as ruthless as she is now. Yi Qiao was not trapped by demons and malice, which meant that she really had no nostalgia for Yue Qingzong. Not even basic dislike. Yi Qiao, otherwise. Song Hansheng looked at Su Juo asking such a question like he was out of his wits. He frowned and kicked Su Juo, who was out of state. Let's go. Go find Yunqiu. For some reason, Yi Qiao came out. Yes, Yunk hasn't come out yet. What did you see in the illusion? After all, the other people came out very quickly, so the focus of interrogation was on Yi Qiao's illusion. Entering the illusion is a way to verify the Taoist heart. I saw myself. Yi Qiao stroked her chin. Also, light. In the illusion, see yourself. Zhu Yu has a lot of experience. He pursed his lips. Do you still remember what you said in the illusion? Every time it bewitches. Maybe it is the worry you have in your heart. I remember. Yi Qiao nodded. she vaguely understood something. In the illusion, you can see yourself. Although that illusion is a little silly, but there is one thing that is not wrong, it sees in the memory that it is indeed the real self, the worries and fears in the bottom of my heart. Yi Qiao suddenly realized this when the illusion said, "You can't even save yourself in the end. Her own way may not be a carefree way. I probably know what my way is." Zhu Yu was somewhat relieved. It was a good thing to figure out his Tao heart early, but he was afraid that he would not be able to figure it out, and he had stagnated for many years in the foundation building period, just like Ming Xuan did back then. Naturally, the sooner the individual competition is approaching, the better. Now, can you break the golden core? Zhou Exingyun's voice was calm. Yi Qiao, you can force a breakthrough, but in the secret realm, it's not necessary. Indeed. The secret realm is only closed for 5 days. If she comes here for 3 days and 3 nights like Yi Qingyan, what will happen to the other competitions in the secret realm? Moreover, a forced breakthrough will lead to an unstable foundation, which is not necessary. The illusion split and fled, and there was nothing to block the way. Zhu Yu looked at the time. Go find some spiritual plants first, and use them in Danshu's competition. Some spiritual plants grow in a special environment, which can only be found in secret realms. Yi Qiao is the one who needs experience the most out of the group, and she will open the way. The girl walks casually with the bamboo shoots in her hand, and she doesn't know if it's bad luck or a coincidence. She ran into a monster within a few steps. It's normal to encounter monsters in the secret realm. What's not normal is that's in the nascent soul stage. Zhou Exingyun pursed his lips and said calmly. Hunting and killing monsters in the nascent soul stage in the 5th round was of no use to them. It was not only a waste of time, but also the danger of being counter-killed. The coercion of the monster beast in the nascent soul stage is extremely oppressive, and there is only one. Although it is troublesome, it will not be powerless to fight back. Yi Qiao went up to the monster, and was activated by King Fengju. The third move was the most powerful. Killing the monster was a good choice. The monster was bulky, and was forced to let out a deterrent roar when 2 swordmasters attacked from both sides. Mentally attacking the sea of consciousness hurts like a needle prick. The moment it roared, Yi Qiao's sword formula, which had been tried several times before succeeding, followed closely. The blasting sword energy interrupted the monster's low roar and saved the ears of several people. The third form. Mu Chongxi turned his wrist slightly, and slashed at the monster's leg with a sword. When did you know it? Yi Qiao. Just now. She is also not very proficient, and she only succeeds once after several times of urging. This kind of newly learned sword art has to be practiced repeatedly to be effective. Mu Chongxi let out a soft chuckle. It was agreed at the beginning which of us would learn who is a dog first, but you actually did it secretly. Yi Qiao pressed down on the bamboo shoot in her hand, and tried King Fengju again without turning her head. It's very simple. I will teach you little by little when I return to the sect. This trick is really easy to use and the effect is very strong when using a single target attack. Stepping on the breeze to open the distance, a few talismans flew up to help her cover. Ming Xuan couldn't help but said while doing it, "Don't you all learn who is a dog first?" It's okay. Mu Chongxi didn't care. We are all dogs. The 2 cheap sword repairers rarely reached a consensus this time. It took a lot of time to deal with the monsters. Yi Qiao frowned, and the spiritual energy in her dantian was almost wiped out. She had a solid foundation and broke through 2 realms in a row before entering the secret realm. After the spiritual root grew up, the speed of absorption is also faster. But breaking through the secret realm is not a good choice. Yi Qiao could only suppress the restlessness in her dantian, controlled the urge to form a pill, and walked to the inner circle with Zhu Yu, during which she asked for a few Qingshin pills. Squeeze it. Yi Qiao held her warm dantian and said honestly, "It's a bit hot." Zhu Yu was thoughtful. "Don't overwhelm yourself by pressing the realm." "Really?" Yi Qiao. "It's okay. Not long ago, he just broke through 2 realms, and if he breaks the golden core, his foundation will easily become unstable. Now the strength of the spirit root allows her to break through, but Yi Qiao doesn't think so. There are quite a few spiritual plants surviving in the inner circle. They used to be busy with competitions and had no time to dig. Now, under the leadership of Zhu Yu, they all went to the ground and started digging herbs diligently. Without a shovel, Mu Chongxi simply picked up a stone, squatted down to dig slowly, but when he looked up, he found that the elder brother was faster than all of them. After digging one by one, he almost dug out the spiritual vegetation on the side. "What did you use, digging so fast?" Mu Chongxi was curious. "Sword." Seeing Zhou Exingyun digging the soil with his natal sword, his eyelids twitched. "After your sword takes shape, will it really not hit you?" They were chatting one after another, but Yi Qiao was a little out of sorts due to the scorching dantian in her body. Her eyes drifted around randomly. Suddenly, the girl's eyes narrowed slightly. She pointed to the ground under her feet, and meditated. "Wait. For a while. Do you think the ground is moving?" After a pause, Yi Qiao changed her words. "Maybe it's changing." Yi Qiao's memory is impeccable, and she can notice every little detail. Being reminded by her, Zhu Yu froze for a few seconds, looked at Lingxi in his hand, and realized later, "It seems that Lingxi moved a little bit just now. I thought it was a mistake." Not everyone has in Yi Qiao's unforgettable memory. Therefore, when you feel that something is wrong, your first reaction is to think that it is your own problem. But if Yi Qiao said that, then the position must have changed. But if Yi lightly, "If the illusion can show me 72 transformations, then I don't think the secret realm is lower than its level." It was only after seeing that illusion that she thought of whether there was a possibility of consciousness in the secret realm. Put Lingxi into the mustard bag, and they plan to leave the inner circle first. The inner circle is more dangerous, and now that Yi Qiao has touched the edge of the golden core period, there is no need to continue walking inside. As if sensing the intention of the 5 people to leave, when returning to the original road, the road section on the ground changed again quietly. The moment a shadow floated over his head, Mingxuan swiftly built a defensive talisman, and the Vajra talisman shattered 3 pieces in succession before abruptly slowing down the crush caused by the sudden lifting of the monster's foot. Then the monster roared, and a strong air flow blew over, mixed with the stench from its mouth. "Depend on." Mingxuan's expression changed. Zhou Exingyun squinted his eyes. "It's another nascent soul stage." Hearing these words, the corner of Zhu Yu's mouth twitched. "Did you seal the curse on that bamboo shoot? Why are there so many monsters in the infant stage all of a sudden?" Yi Qiao. "It's done. She found Duan Hengdao to fix it early in the morning. Since it wasn't a matter of taking the bamboo shoots, it might be the secret realm itself. It's okay to say that one is just a few of them are unlucky. It can be seen from the fact that Yi Qiao was able to retract the nascent soul stage by digging eggs back then, so it can be seen that monsters of this level have IQs, and they will not conflict with their relatives for no reason. But now, when they were about to leave the inner circle, another nascent soul stage monster came at them. What was it not aimed at? The secret realm may be targeting us." Yi Qiao sneered. "What, did she break the law in her next secret realm or something? What is it doing against us?" Mingxuan couldn't figure it out. They basically didn't do anything after entering the secret realm, but the other 4 sects were fighting fiercely, and they could hear the movement from a long distance away. "Is a good question. Yi Qiao. I want to know too." Qin Fanfan frowned, and after hearing the deduction, he said in a deep voice, "Is the secret realm alive?" "This is a secret place of ghosts. It often opens and appears by itself for no reason. I have heard that it has self-awareness in it before. Seeing that Chang Mingzong was a little worried, the elder of swordsmanship Sect touched his stubble-covered chin, but this kind of secret realm usually does not interfere with monks. It's strange. It has been opened so many times in the past, and there has never been a situation where it was deliberately targeted at anyone. Since the secret realm has self-awareness inside, it belongs to the spiritual being born in the world, and it will not interfere with these things unless. The elders looked at each other and thought of something in unison. Will it be heaven? But what did Tiandao do against Chang Mingzong for no reason? The nascent soul monster Yi Qiao can't deal with it by herself, but she has a lot of mustard seeds in her bag, and while dodging, she observes its weakness. Chasing up suddenly, Yi Qiao pressed down with his sword, and while blocking the blow, the third form of King Fengju exploded instantly. Mu Chongxi just wanted to help with a sword, but was stopped by Zhou Exingyun, who said, "Let her do it herself." Now it is Yi Qiao who continues to break through and experience, not them. They can only cover by the side. Killing monsters is mainly left to Yi Qiao. Not only did Yi Qiao face the coercion of nascent soul stage monsters, but she also had to be careful about her speed, otherwise she would be torn in half if she slowed down. One person and one beast tugged for a while. She continued to swallow the elixir. She tried several times just now. This time she finally found the weakness of the monster beast. The second the monster beast disappeared, Yi Qiao made preparations in advance, turned around and grabbed the bamboo shoot in her hand, hit the belly of the monster that was trying to sneak attack. At the same time, the imprisoning talisman was ignited, and the talisman took effect a second before it went mad, and the monster's mouth widening and biting movement froze. Yi Qiao accepted Janwenzong's sword move expressionlessly, and the piercing sword light slashed heavily towards the monster's dantian. At the moment it crashed to the ground, with a twirl of the shuriken, Yi Qiao calmly took out the inner alchemy inside, heaved a sigh of relief, and spread her whole body on the ground, like a big cake that seemed hopeless. Love. The spiritual energy in the secret realm is abundant, and after the dantian is cleared, the spiritual roots will automatically absorb the surrounding spiritual energy. Are you okay? Ming Xuan sympathized with her. At the peak of foundation building, kill monsters in the nascent soul stage. Yi Qiao was in a trance. It's okay. Is this secret realm targeting me? She asked. Zhu Yu nodded heavily. If it forces me again. Yi Qiao felt the restless dantian, pursed her lips, and her mood became worse and worse. I will forcefully break through and blow up this broken secret realm. Has everyone started school yet? ? Don't go wow woo woo woo. Chevron understood the whole sect by playing badly. Chapter 127 must be with this Yi Qiao gang. Yi Qiao's mood is really a little impetuous. First the illusion, and then two nascent soul monsters blocking the way. Even the next secret realm won't let her go. Is she breaking the law? Hurry up and blow up Yi Qiao. We support you. At least I've been to the secret realm 4 times. Yi Qiao still doesn't understand what the great secret realm means. The great secret realm only opened once in decades or even 100 years, and it was the first time I saw a thing of heaven and earth that was about to explode like her. There were booing voices outside the arena, very approving of her going to bomb the secret realm. Qin Fanfan could hear their teasing tone, touched his beard and couldn't help feeling a little complicated. Because he felt that Yi Qiao's phrase, exploding the secret realm, might not be a joke. Zhu Shi noticed Yi Qiao's rebellious remarks, and the secret realm that had been silent and unresponsive was also angry. The ground under his feet changed again, and a group of monsters appeared around him when he raised his eyes. They were all in the golden core stage, and they kicked the ground every now and then, and the faint and cold animal pupils made their heartbeats soar wildly. Come on, solve it early and go back to the sect to sleep. Yi Qiao held Juosen neatly, and couldn't help saying sorry to the other sects. They didn't want to get the ranking. It was that stupid secret realm that forced them. The group of 5 who were brutally targeted looked at each other and wailed at the same time, the 5th game that they agreed to have nothing to do with them. Is it so difficult to pretend to be bad? People's sorrows and joys are not the same. At the same time, Janjianzong also fell into deep thought as he looked at the empty monster lair. Where did those monsters go? Zhu Yu looked at the drawings in his hand over and over again, pondering. The position is generally not wrong, and the speed of other sects should not be so fast. In terms of speed, the group of sword cultivators are number 1. Yue Qingzong can use talismans to speed up, but Zhu Yu doesn't think they have so many talisman cultivators in Yue Qingzong, and a single sword cultivator can slaughter all the surrounding monsters. Look at this turbulent swordsmanship. Simiao said, it's a bit like Chang Mingzong's handwriting. Chang Mingzong. To be honest, they really missed Chang Mingzong in the 5th round. They were the most eye-catching in the past, but after the 5th round, the rankings are supposed to have nothing to do with them. After opening the jade slip, good guy, the speed of the monster is visible to the naked eye. The speed keeps increasing. The 2 sects collaborated and spent a long time trying to find the monster, but the Changming sect's rise was terrifying. Lu Yun of Bishuazong blinked, but didn't they not participate? I don't know. Chu Xingji. Why don't you kneel down and beg them, don't kill them, and leave us some? Lu Yun's face turned dark. Chu Xingji, shut up. Your mouth has offended all the pros around you who can be offended. I'm looking forward to him sharing the stage with Song Hansheng. These 2 people are a bunch of poisonous people. Chu Xingji is stupid and somewhat mean, while Song Hansheng is purely mean. The analysis of the monks is in place. Unaware that Song Hansheng, who had been labeled mean, was about to turn around and go back to find someone, but the illusion was torn apart by Yi Qiao, and as a result, Yun Qiu was still missing, either lost or still trapped inside. Yun Qiu is still in the illusion, and this illusion is very difficult. It first transformed into the appearance of Yi Qiao, and the other party asked her over and over again, why did you steal her spiritual plant? This time, Yun Qiu was surprised to find that she no longer felt ashamed in the face of this matter. Natural selection, isn't this the law of the cultivation world? Seeing that it didn't work for her, the illusion was not discouraged, and continued to transform into Yun Qiu's own appearance, questioning step by step. To this day, you have worshipped Yue Qingzong and become a direct disciple with your spiritual roots. Have you ever regretted it? Yun Qiu's expression changed slightly, and then he shattered the illusion, his voice resounding, I have a clear conscience. The illusion spoke softly, and laughed, if you really have a clear conscience, I wouldn't be here. After speaking, it turned into a girl again, imitating the girl's innocent tone, and asked with a smile, Yun Qiu. Are you serious? Do you have a clear conscience? I don't understand what you're talking about. Yun Qiu's eyes were clear and harmless, and he raised his hand to disperse the illusion. After all, she underestimated the illusion, and she can actually read the things deep in people's memory, and this is also related to Yun Qiu's secret. If it is made public, how will she stay in Wang in the future? The illusion did not expect that her psychological quality was quite good. It continued to approach her, and smiled slightly. Then let me ask you again, is your spirit root comfortable to use? Shut up. The corners of Yun Qiu's lips tightened for a moment, his pupils shrank